time to go. Two-step, break a sweat on the dance floor. Don't be cold, standing on the wall. Time to get it going, like you're trying to ball. Yeah, it's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going. It's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going. Yeah, it's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going. It's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. And if you live in the party, then you're halfway there. And Cali got the real, ain't no halfway bands. And everybody already had their shares, cause 5 on it really came from real town players. In a 7-Up, rum and coke back, a Nay-Ho double shot, cause don't be talking that. Vodka straight, gin and juice, and Red Bull, and you double the do. Ay. Turn the party up till it's time to go. Till it's time to go. Two-step, break a sweat on the dance floor. On the dance floor. Don't be cold, standing on the wall. Time to get it going, like you trying to ball. It's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. It's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. It's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going. It's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Till about 3 Cali, turning up, then the party got us something like the Buttercup. Until about 3 Cali, turning up, then the party got us something like the Buttercup. Ay, steak and cheese with the Worcestershire, hand on the knee, spit a verse to her. She with it if I say I got a purse for her, but she give it right back when I burst the perk. Ay. Turn the party up till it's time to go. Till it's time to go. Two-step, break a sweat on the dance floor. On the dance floor. Don't be cold, standing on the wall. Time to get it going, like you trying to ball. It's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. It's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. It's a party on the west, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going.
Wednesday night hot spot. Wednesday night, Ella at the Parliament. The Wednesday night hot spot. Spotlight and new talent from all over the Bay and the End. Much love to all the entertainers that grace the stage and give it their all. Every Wednesday night, every Wednesday, every Wednesday night, every Wednesday, every Wednesday night, every Wednesday, every Wednesday night. When one Washington State, downtown Oakland, just follow the beat. They are DJs in the mix, and the bartender has your favorite mix. Your mix, your mix. Hosted by Shayway and Epit on me. Shayway and Epit on me. Bring 2 songs on USB. 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 Be ready to rock when they call your name. Instigate, wait till you start to fade. 7:30 to 11:30. 7:30. 7:30 to 11:30. 7:30 to 11:30. 7:30 to 11:30. Support your local entertainers. A $5 cover, not a strainer. Support your local entertainers. A $5 cover, not a strainer. Wednesday night, power at the Parliament. The Wednesday night hot spot. Wednesday night, power at the Parliament. The Wednesday night hot spot.
Mary, without Mary, man, let me know.
Well,
The police?
police, that's a splinter out.
Live by the sword, die by the sword, has become a common expression, adapted from Jesus. Words to Peter, the proverb meaning is still basically the same. A person who lives violently will probably at some point be killed in a violent manner. Violence begets violence. Those who practice violence will come to a invited in. I say it again. Those who practice violence will come to invite it in.
I used to shoot all my videos with Hooker Boy. I used it.
Are you ready to honor the legacy of my brother and hip-hop legend Shock G and make a difference in the community? Show your support for the East Oakland Collective, EOC, by purchasing the new Shock G Humpty t-shirt designed by Shamari Smith. It's available at beatsforhope.com. My brother
Level Impact Podcast. I'm your host, the Tycoon. We got Igor Beats on the ones and twos. You feel me? And we just, came through to share some information with y'all and also get your, give our thoughts and opinions on some of the current topics that's going on today. And hopefully, we can come up with some good ideas that somebody can put to use. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. We doing this for y'all. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that's on Twitch, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and everywhere else in the world. Thank y'all for checking in, whether you're doing it from your job, the library, you know what I mean? School, wherever you at. You know what I mean? We appreciate y'all, and we do this for y'all, and we definitely can't do it without you. So, yeah, I don't know. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out how to start this one, cause, well, I guess I give a quick recap. You know, the weekend was off the hook. I went to I was at the Vallejo car show at the waterfront. It was hundreds of cars there, a bunch of people. It was definitely off the hook. And went to a wrestling event inside of a library. Okay, now that was interesting. But yeah, and it was packed in there too. But it was the library in Vallejo. It's pretty nice size library in downtown Vallejo, and I guess so. This wrestling organization is a local one. I guess I think they do a lot of stuff in the valley and like Sacramento areas, Sacramento down through Stockton. Um, so they had this is their second time doing it. The first time they did it there was last year, and so I guess it was just one of their wrestling stops. But overall, it was a cool event. It was like 4 or 5 different matches. You know what I mean? But they had it packed in the library. It was live in there. It was live. It was interactive too. Because they doing stuff out in the crowd. Walking through the crowd, interacting with the crowd, autographs and all of that stuff. But yeah, I just thought it was funny because it's a library. But at the same time, a little fun fact: I actually saw La Russell perform at that library also. And this is about a year or so back. Yeah, this is during his journey. Everybody know that he be doing the backyard parties and different stuff. But yeah, he was doing all types of events, you know what I mean? And that was one event that he did. He did a live performance, a free concert inside the library in Vallejo. And of course with he had some of the musicians there as well. He did a bunch of stuff live, but yeah, it was. You'd be surprised, man. The libraries be lit. That's all. I just wanted to say because I'm getting caught up in it. But yeah, libraries be lit. They be having functions going on at other ones too. Not just book signings and stuff. It be certain days where they be having musicians and classes and all kind of stuff. Y'all might want to check it out. I'm actually in the process right now of teaching a class at a library. So, but yeah, I just wanted to say I thought that was dope because who would have thought a wrestling event, Like I've been to some of the other independent ones where, they do them inside breweries or bars if they got enough space, you know what I mean? A big enough space to have a ring set up in there. But for that to be in a library, it was dope. And you could see the kids, everybody that was there was enjoying it, But on the flip side, about this weekend, I paid over $6 in gas, over $6 a gallon. Okay, in Oakland. And I didn't appreciate it at all. It did not feel good. It was one of them emergency situations. Like I'm for real. Like y'all know how that be when you moving around a lot. I had to I was busting a bunch of moves, and by the time I needed gas, I was away from the cheaper gas station. Right? And so you know how the car will tell you, car said I was 0 miles. You know what I mean? I burnt it all the way out. That's what I mean. It was one of them situations. And yeah, you feel well, no. At first, you know how it'll say, oh, you got 2-3 miles left, and those don't be 2-3 miles. They go quick as hell, like you said. And then next thing you know, the zero popped up, and I'm sitting there like, so how much, and maybe somebody, if y'all listening, yeah, y'all can leave it in the comment section. Cause no, I'm for real. I remember somebody telling me that before, like with certain cars, or like when it shows that it's E, that technically there's still like a half a gallon or something that's supposed to be still in the tank. It's not completely empty, so you should still be able to ride for, not far, but you know what I mean? Like at least, another 2-3 miles or so. I don't remember exactly what it was, but in my head, I'm sitting there trying to calculate, and then I'm downtown Oakland. Yes, it is. Right by the freeway. It is a gas station. It's a gas station right here. And that was the one. That was the one. Yeah, right there along, is that Castro Street or whatever? Yeah. Yeah, the Chevron. And man, $6.29 a gallon. So, gave him $13. Grabbed exactly 2 gallons of gas. Okay? So, yeah, 2 gallons of gas got me back in the game to where I was able to go ahead and get to the nearest gas station. But, you know, that was different. That was different. And I mean, I know y'all like, oh, that wasn't that much, and it wasn't. But when you start thinking about it, I mean, trust me, y'all, I can be very frugal. I be budgeting like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So excuse my language, but don't excuse it, cause sometimes like I've never paid. First of all, I think that's the most I've ever paid for gas ever in life. Yeah, ever. $6.29 a gallon. Like I just and we talking about that's regular unleaded gas. Okay? You know? And shout outs to, to the car that I was in, even though it's a bigger engine and bigger gas tank, but it's more highway miles. You get what I'm saying with me, so you feel me? Once I put that little $13 in, we got the 2 gallons of gas. We was able to push off, definitely to where the other gas station was and fill up. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, that's crazy. And I thought that was crazy until I looked on the news today. And currently, okay, the national average for gas is $4 in the United States. That's the national average that they trying to say people was paying. Somewhere around that number. Here in California alone, our average is $5.89 a gallon for the state of California. Okay? So, on average, anywhere in the state, we looking at possibly paying $1.89 more than the rest of the country. That's number one. Number two, like yeah, like I just said, we was talking about it here, how, down Southern California, it was already $7-8 a gallon. You know what I mean? Like I said, up here, at first I was like, okay, they said it's $6-7 a gallon, and it was like Menlo Park or whatever. And then I seen one of the retired mayors, Jean Quan, Oakland mayor. I seen her post, I guess somewhere, another area out here, like in Oakland Hills, where gas is over $6-7 a gallon, right? Then I run into that myself. now I'm seeing it at a couple different spots in Oakland today when I was driving around. Where it is some gas where it's over $6, right? But then I seen something else on the news today. Now I know you say but your voice might come back on this one, bro. Look, gas in how do you say it? Is it Big Sur? Is it Sur SUR or Sur? Because I know, yeah, but I thought it's pronounced Sur in Spanish. Anyway, I'm not sure, but that's what I'm saying. But however you say it, there's a spot there called Gorda by the Sea. Their gas, their premium gas is currently $10 a gallon. As of today, $10 a gallon. And you gonna pay that. There's people paying it. They don't have a choice. And the cold part about it is the owner, I guess, y'all got to go check out the article because the owner said in the article, the only reason it can't go higher is because the gas pump dial doesn't go any higher. So as far as, on pricing the gas, it stops at 99, at 9999. So that's that's what he charging for gas. And the cold part about it is you got to trip. If that's what he charging now, and they say, and yes, they asked, the people asked him in the interview and stuff too in the article, and he was saying that, if he could charge more, he would. Because y'all got to think too. I know Trump last night gave an address, and he was saying that the war is going to be coming to an end and this and that. But he was also making other statements too, even prior to with telling people, as far as even gas prices, or just the economic or inflation is not all the way over. It's not going to be over no time soon. So with that, I'm thinking is that their way of saying that it's going to keep going up before it go down? You know what I mean? And if that's the case, and they already at $10 there, and I think also the other reason too is they generate their own power there. So that's why they charge, I guess, as much, because in case of a power outage, they generate power too. So, but yeah, that's outrageous, man. It's already there, $10 a gallon. I mean, I'm seeing people on social media making jokes talking about how pretty soon that's what they got to worry about that. It's gonna be people calling off of work because they can't get to work. Because at those prices, you basically working just to put gas. So how is you going to do? And shout out, I will say that too. That remind me, shout out to the gas station that I worked for, the company I worked for when I was out there in Oregon, and to other companies that do similar things where you could take out a loan. They'll advance you. I guess it depends on where you work at. I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm talking about. So, the company that I worked for, it was a gas station franchise, and how they were set up was you would get so much credit every pay period. So much credit every pay period, and if you needed to borrow, against your paycheck, you could. Um, yeah. But what was dope about it, and I'm gonna tell you the truth, was because with it being a gas station franchise, you know, of course you could say I never went without gas. You know, I never had a time really when I was working there or like during the, cause I was up there around the pandemic and stuff too. So yeah, I was never out of gas. You know, I kept all the cars full of gas. Or what I would do too is, you know, they had gas like gift cards. You know what I mean? And so I think like the limit was like $75 or $100 or something. You know what I mean? Every pay period, you know, they pay you every 2 weeks. But shit, I would turn around and I would get it in gift cards. You know what I'm saying? And so because they were partnered with Shell, I was able to get Shell gift cards, you know, for gas cards. So it was like shit. And I knew I was, you know, not only was I working there, you know, I worked there part time because I had another job full time when I was out in Oregon. But there was times where I was still getting a lot of overtime to where it was damn near me putting in full time hours at that job. You know, talking about a full 40. Um, Normally I was giving them like maybe 20 to 30 hours a week sometimes because they did used to call me to cover people's shifts and stuff. But I'm doing that on top of working a 40-hour a week job. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was crazy. You know, plus it was tips and stuff. It was lovely up there. But that was the thing is that yeah, for people that work for them type of places, you know, they the only ones that ain't got to worry about getting back and forth to work. Cause if we already reaching $6, $7 here, and it's still gonna go up more, you know, the price. I mean, at that point, it's not really. You know, you talking about driving. It's kind of crazy to get to work, especially depending on where you work at in the Bay Area, because you gotta deal. You gonna deal with traffic unless you leaving way earlier or later, so it's costing you time. You know what I mean? And you're not being, you know, I mean, are they going? You think the jobs are gonna start? What am I saying? You know, paying people for travel time, or people gonna start demanding it? I mean, you know, they already here in Alameda County with the $30 minimum wage proposal. You know, $30 an hour minimum wage proposal. I mean, which makes sense. And that's another way of looking at it like that too. You know, I mean, if you were to include travel, um, you know, if you were paying for travel or mileage or however it go, you know, as far as I know, some jobs they do offer that, uh, depending on the job. But you know, would it equal up to 30 an hour or extra few dollars or something? But at the price at the point when it start hitting $10 or more a gallon of gas, um, I think people should be entitled to some kind of travel compensation. I don't know. I don't know how that necessarily works. You know, but for people like even myself included, you know, some jobs I cross bridges. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through multiple cities, so I have to drive. So you know, let alone how much you know how much time it takes to commute. But I just thought that was weird. But it's something that we gonna have to figure out because it brings me up to another topic that I want to discuss. Something that I saw Caltrain. Caltrain stopped. I didn't know this, and I used to like Caltrain. I haven't been on there in a while, but I used to ride Caltrain before, and train rides is cool. You know what I mean? Train rides is cool. I mean, of course, I'm you know, born and raised here in the Bay, so you name it, I've been on it from, you know, the cable cars in the city to the Muni street cars in the city to, you know, the what's it, VTA or whatever, the one that's down in San Jose, they transit, um, the RT Regional Transit, which is in Sacramento, you know, BART, Amtrak, you know, I could keep going, but you know, definitely, Caltrain was also one of them. You know what I mean? That I done been on before. Used to commute back and forth on it when I was a little younger. You know, going up and down the peninsula. You know, from the city all the way to Mountain View and back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Running through the peninsula. So y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But it was dope. You know, like I said, train rides is cool. But I guess they're dealing with financial issues just like the rest of the public transportation systems, you know. So all of them are really on the brink of shutting down completely. Caltrain, I guess they had already stopped weekend services, which I didn't know that. And I think that sucks, like I was just talking about, because for people, you know, I mean, trying to travel, period, but especially if you got to work, and that was how you was commuting to get back and forth to work. If you worked in the city and say you stayed in South City or, you know what I'm saying, somewhere else, and you don't necessarily have a vehicle, what do you do? And people got to think about that too, because places like all the bigger cities now are changing a lot of their laws too. And some of these smaller ones are following suit a little bit where, you know, certain areas like they downtown areas or different places, it's no parking. You know, they making the streets smaller, you know, with the bike lanes and everything else. But a lot of places, there is no parking, or you're parking at your own risk because you got to worry about your stuff getting broken into. I don't I don't think that that's fair, but I mean, you know, shit, what can I say? You know, who am I? Life ain't fair. But it's like, what are people supposed to do? Now, I mean, I guess next they're talking about closing down certain stations, and or I guess in that instance, certain stops, because you know, there's certain places where that you know they stop at in between, like South City, you know, some of those smaller towns along the peninsula where it's literally like, you know, just like an old school train stop. You know what I mean? Where they literally just pull up and stop there and you get on. And so, like I said, for people that live in some of those, you know, little smaller cities along the peninsula, and they, you know, trying to connect to the bigger city for work or for school, you know, you got to think about it, trying to get to Stanford or, you know what I mean? Different areas over there. Now they're going to be limited to what they can do. You know, or people trying to get to San Jose from the city, or I believe it go all the way down there. So it's like, yeah, um, that's something that, you know, is going, I think, remote, uh, you know, the commute scene, the traffic scene, just all across the board, just transportation, period. Because at this rate, you know, BART already announced that by the end of the year, you know, they were going to be preparing to shut down a bunch of different BART stations because of the same thing. So they're basically their whole map, if you see the routes that they use, is going to be like a skeleton of that. where it's only certain, they can only afford a certain amount of employees, then that means it's only going to be certain BART stations open. So that's going to be even harder for people to get around, because then you figure, okay, if you live in a certain area and if you're trying, you might have to catch 2-3 buses to get to the BART station, if that BART station is the one that's open. You know what I mean? Yeah, or you might have to catch, at least, you're going to have to catch at least 2 buses to get to a BART station, number one. But then, depending on where you're going, you got to hope that it's a BART station close and that you don't have to catch 2 buses once you get off. And the way the bus systems is going right now, they going to be doing the same thing as far as some of their bus lines is probably going to get shut down. You know what I mean? They're going to cut back on a bunch of stuff. So, when you think about people trying to get to anywhere, school, work, home, or just getting around, period, I think that that's going to be there's going to be a bit of an adjustment for everybody. The freeways is already crowded. And like we just said, from the cost of gas to the fast track lanes, and that, the fast track lane is the devil. I was sitting there tripping off of that. And I mean, I get it, because of course, just like, they got fast track lanes in other areas too. But the prices that I see on certain, like during the commute hours and stuff, where it might be $5 to ride in the fast lane. At that point, you ain't even crossing no bridge, but you basically paying a toll. I mean, that you are paying a toll, but it's damn near like paying a bridge toll. So you figure you paying this much in gas, depending again on where you at and how much driving you got to do or what you driving. But if you paying $6 or $7 a gallon for gas, to ride in this fast track lane over here is costing you $5. And then if you still got to cross a bridge or two, that's another $8.50 per bridge. Okay? You paying, yeah, you paying down there, you can say on average, $15 to $20 just off the fast track tolls, the bridge tolls and the fast track. Well, the bridge is fast track too, so it's the same thing. But yeah, so basically you paying that much per trip, per day or per trip, depending on how many times you got to go back and forth. Because if you cross a bridge one way, you definitely got to pay. So, you know what I mean? At least once a day. But if you crossing more than one bridge, then, it's just expensive. It's expensive. So like I said, I don't know. Now Tesla, shout out to them, and shout out to the airport, the SFO airport, because I know that they actually have shuttles where they go pick up their employees and drop them off. Now, I understand everybody ain't got Elon money. You know what I mean? But that's something that we're gonna have to work on. You feel me? Because I don't get it. Yeah, how else are you expecting? Unless the wages are gonna increase, because nothing else is going down. The price of, like I said, the price of gas ain't went down, so price of transportation ain't going down, period. Because even with these other public transit systems, they prices is going up. So it's like they prices is steady going up, but then there's really no service to get you to where you need to go, to where it's like you gotta have a car. I know, because I'm one of those people. it just it's just not making no sense. And like I said, at the point that I'm paying anywhere near $10 a gallon or more, then I'm gonna need some type of a extra, a raise in some shape, form, or fashion. I'm gonna need a travel check or something separate because it's not making no sense. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, that tripped me out. Um, I'm gonna have to take a Caltrain ride though, at least before it gets to really shutting down. I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna go, but I might try to plan to do it just one more time to get it over with, cause you know it was different. It's a nice little, it's all. I mean, it's a scenic route. You know what I'm saying? Just a different look, but yeah, who'd have thought that any of this stuff would be um, shutting down or having issues. Like, I mean, Bart too. I'm over it though with Bart because Bart, they let it go, and so I'm still confused about that, or even where some of the money was going because, um, I mean, back in the day, you would see like people smoking on the bus or the train or different things like that. There were rare occasions though. You know what I'm saying? Rare occasions, but it seemed like the last few years, that the service was just getting really, really trashy. And I know they tried to clean it up since then too, but I still don't understand because the whole time the prices was going up, but they don't have no money. They're actually offering to use. They're offering certain BART parking lots now, or parking garages at the stations that have parking garages. They're now using them as regular parking garages because I guess to try to make money, so you don't necessarily have to be a BART passenger to use their parking garage. You can still just park your car there. I don't know about that one. I mean, the only way I would do it, and even then, is sketchy. Cause I mean, I'm pretty sure they got cameras and stuff there, and the BART police do patrol, but they would definitely have to have somebody, on hand there that's on site that's monitoring the parking garage. You know, and 24/7. It needs to be some people there in addition to BART police going there. That's the only way. I mean, I could see it work. I mean, it's a good idea. You know what I mean? Shit, they paid a lot of money, to build up some of these. Because some of them are just, are more recently open than others. So, they're modern parking garages. And yeah, I mean, shit, why not? They gotta do something, but that lets you know too that they really preparing for a transition. If they just built these parking garages, but now they gonna have to really open them up for public use. I thought that was interesting. Let's see. Shit, what else is going on out here? Milpitas just announced the city of Milpitas, I guess, is going to be giving out free ring cameras to all their residents. Now, I thought this was dope, but at the same time, I think it's a trick. Um, Now, their reason for doing it is, I guess recently, they've been dealing with, a lot of crime, break-ins, different things like that. So, you know, and Milpitas, they got a little money down there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not knocking it. You feel me? I mean, at least the city is in a position to look out for their residents like that. You know, that's a good thing. So they offering, I guess, to give out Ring cameras to all the residents to help, you know, with crime solving, you know, basically break-ins and or anything else that they might catch on the camera. And that's part of what I might be worried about. But then again, I mean, hey, it's the world we live in now. It's 2026. It's a camera everywhere, you know. They already, yeah, everywhere, you know. So they already got cameras, you know, monitoring outside on the, you know, on the street. You know what I mean? So they'll catch your license plate, they'll catch your car, you know. All the different businesses, most of them nowadays have security cameras, and a lot of their cameras, depending on the city or depending on the business, you know, they do work with law enforcement where they give them access to the cameras. And in addition, you know, public transportation, of course, buses, the trains, all of them, they got cameras too. So, you know, like you said, it's cameras everywhere now. You know, it's nowhere, really ain't no way with getting away, no way to get away with too much of anything without being, you know, caught in the act on somebody's camera. And that's the thing that I'm tripping off of because of Ring cameras. Now, Ring cameras, you know, I know that it's a private company, you know, but they've been around for a while. And of course, you know, they have it where you can interact live, you know, like if somebody show up at your door and things like that. Or, you know, it can record. You can put it on certain settings where, you know, it can alert you when, you know, when somebody is going in front of the camera and things like that. But my thing is by the city giving out the Ring cameras, is that giving them access? Is that giving them access to just look at whatever's going on in front of your house or wherever you set up the camera? And the reason that I'm wondering that is because on there they was talking about, you know, as far as using it to try to solve some crimes too. Well, the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you have access to say, okay, there was an incident that happened on this street, right? And now you guys contact the database for access to the cameras on that street where you can look at all of them to see if you can find any of, you know, until you find the footage that you're looking for. I don't know, I'm kind of skeptical about that one. I mean, if that's the case, just put a camera on the street. You know, to me, it would cost the same amount of money. I don't know what you think, Igor, but well, I guess maybe not, because I mean, it depends, because I know nowadays, right, I'm sure they got cameras where they're solar powered. So, you know, going into certain neighborhoods and mounting cameras on poles and different stuff, I don't see why, you know, to me that should be right around the same. I mean, costly as far as money wise. I think it should cost around the same as giving everybody Ring cameras. But I also think that the Ring cameras will invade people's privacy. You know, because, I mean, what if everybody's not putting the Ring camera on their porch? You get what I'm saying? I'm not sure about, I'm just saying, because, yeah, I'm not sure what you know, necessarily. Like I said, if they're only doing certain parts, or I need to look it up actually to see if it's only for certain areas or if it's for the whole city of Milpitas. 'Cause if it's the whole city of Milpitas, like you said, okay, if they got apartments, you know, if they live in apartments, then you know, they ring camera most likely gonna be at the front door of their apartment building. I mean, you know, I mean, if they the front door of their apartment, again, it's a nice idea that they giving them out, but to, you know, just have 24-hour access, I think that that's crazy to somebody's stuff. You know, I think that that's invasion of privacy. It's a good idea, but invasion of privacy. Like I said, if I don't see what the problem is putting one or two. Well, I guess depending on how long the street is how many cameras you think they have to put up per street. You know, because you can't just put one at each end of the street. Well, you can, but it would only catch cars. You know. Well, I mean, even if it's somebody on foot, I still think you would catch them walking. You know, if it's somebody breaking into houses, you got to think about that too. I mean, you know, some people, yeah. So they're launching a program. They're using 60,000. They're using $60,000 in funding, okay, to purchase Ring doorbell cameras for the community. Right? Now, cameras are available to verified city residents on a first come, first served basis. The Milpitas Police Department will manage the distribution of the devices as part of the new safety initiative. I don't understand. I don't understand how that works. Or does that mean that they given access to it? But I did not know that I see that they mention it here that San Leandro has a similar program. Let me see. In San Leandro, right down the street, they have what is called a community ring camera initiative. When did they start this? So yeah, in San Leandro, if y'all listening, I guess y'all probably already know, but they have the San Leandro Police Department has a community safety initiative, you know, and you can get a ring camera through them. All you have to do is provide a copy of your ID, which shows a current San Leandro address, proof of residence or business ownership, or a recent utility bill. Oh, no, you have to bring all of this stuff. You have to provide all of this stuff in the email. Copy of your ID, proof of residence or business ownership, a recent utility bill with the address on it, and a number to schedule, a number that you can be reached at to schedule the pickup for the camera. You know what I mean? And they want you to specify what type of camera that you need, whether it's a doorbell camera or an outside camera. Now, see, that makes it a little better. But then again, I don't know because that's what I was talking about, Igor. I still think that's invasion of privacy. Because okay, what if it's pointed at my backyard? You know, or I mean, like you said, what if I'm, or I mean, of course, you figure okay, people that really just have it pointed at their driveway, basically, which again, okay, you ain't seeing what's going on in the house, but I don't know. They just have. That's what I'm saying. Does that mean that they have access to it? You feel me? But yeah, I don't know. What would y'all do? Me personally, I mean, I guess it would only, like I said, it would only be facing that way though. It would only be facing the garage. I mean, mounted in front of the garage facing the driveway. I wouldn't put it nowhere else. I wouldn't want it at the door. Not if the police have access to it. I don't necessarily want it. I don't want the doorbell one. I get the doorbell one on my own through something else. Shit. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, But if they could do that, then they can do some other stuff, But again, each city is different. That's what I'm saying. Shout out to Milpitas. I guess they up right now. Obviously, they can afford to buy residents ring cameras. You know what I'm saying? While all these other places they just struggling to, one way or another, whether it's the police department or schools definitely, but, shout out to them. Oh, speaking of which, another move that just came, I've been noticing in Berkeley is trying to do some big things. You feel me? Now, the one freeway exit that's over there, what's that, Gilman? They redid that whole freeway exit over there and entrance and everything. I believe when they did it, it was supposed to be, it was like a $4 million project or something. I remember them announcing it. It was a big deal at first because the traffic over there was crazy. And if y'all know where I'm talking about, it's right off of the 80. And, on one side of the freeway over there, they actually built a soccer field. You know what I mean? So it's it got pretty popular. You know what I mean? So, soccer, of course, became more and more popular. It's always been a popular sport, but, it's became more and more popular. And so that was one of the places, too, over there where they had built, I don't remember what was there first, but they built up a brand new soccer field, you know what I mean? So where, it lights up and stuff, people even out there at nighttime, they do games, and there's a couple soccer leagues that practice as well as play their games there. But yeah, so they spent $4 million over there, but it was just announced that Golden Gate Fields, which is also over there, in Golden Gate Fields, for people that don't know, it used to be where the horse track was at, for the horse races, as well as they had stables over there where people could store, that's where people, I don't want to say store their horses necessarily, but, for the people out here that still had livestock, that's where they could home their horses for people that live, here in the inner city. They have stables over there that people could rent out where, that's where their horse could live and get, looked after and everything else. And the horse track was over there. I actually used to like going to the horse track Been there a few times to hang out. You know, they used to have dollar Sundays where you could, dollar hot dogs, dollar mimosas. You know what I mean? It cost $1 to get in there, and then of course, you could place bets and stuff on the horses, but overall, it was something to do. It was fun. I used to go out and do it a couple times, and it was nice. And I missed it when they announced, because they closed Golden Gate Fields back in 2024. So 2 years ago, when they closed it down, I missed my chance to go there before it closed. And I was kind of upset about it because also with them, I think the only other horse tracks that was out here was Alameda County Fairgrounds, and I think that one is closing too, or it did close. But they just about Golden Gate Fields, because like I was saying, it's over there towards Berkeley, right off the Albany Berkeley area, but it's right off of the 80 freeway. So, if you're coming from Sacramento or anywhere, in the North Bay, you're coming down into the Bay Area, that's the first thing you see. Once you make that turn to come into, coming down to 80, if you're trying to get to Berkeley or Oakland or even to get to the bridge to get to San Francisco. Somebody had just purchased the property over there. I guess just got purchased, and they plan on turning that into a water park. I mean, am I saying that right, Igor? When it's basically not a water park, but like a park along the water. Yeah, so that's the same thing. Yeah, national park type thing, whatever. So they're gonna redo that whole area. So I think that's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? Because that is a big space, and it's something to do with it. But I guess it wouldn't be ready for people to actually go there and attend it till like 2030, something like that. But I thought that was cool that, they finally announced that they're going to do something with that space. I was sitting here in the back of my mind this whole time wishing that at some point somebody was going to come along and reopen Golden Gate Fields as the horse tracks. I thought they was going to bring it back. Or you know what else I used to think that would have been a good idea for that space? Especially because of how it's still set up like a stadium type setting, was why didn't one of these companies or somebody try to use it for drag racing, or you know what I mean? Yeah, racing with a car. It was already, you get what I'm saying, or dirt bikes, anything, it was already a racetrack. Yeah, like I didn't understand. It was already a racetrack with a stadium, the seats, you know what I mean, and everything. It was, Now the space around it, as far as where the stables and stuff is at, I could definitely understand. Okay, taking all that down and still doing something with all the land. But yeah, I mean, and then on the other side they had a parking lot, a big one already. So I don't know. I just I guess I was hoping for a miracle. I was hoping they was gonna bring it back better than ever, But we'll see. I mean, shit. Depends if they gonna turn it into a park. I wonder what kind of stuff they'll have at the park there. I mean, of course they probably gonna have areas where you can barbecue and things like that, but at the same time, it's right there on the water. And I don't know about that. I mean, it's a couple other spots that's just like that out here. And on a hot day, is chill. But on a cold day, when it's windy, I don't want to be on that water like that. I don't want to be on that water like that unless you one of those people that go walking and jogging and of course they're gonna have they have the built-in exercise machines where you can, when you're going along the trail doing your walk or your jog, you can stop and, do your different reps and stuff. That's cool. But outside of that, I mean, what kind of other things, would you guys be adding to the park as an attraction? You know what I'm saying? Now, shout out to Kennedy Park in Hayward. I believe if they still they still got the carousel there. I'm not sure. I have to go check. But like that, that park, they had, petting zoo there, with the, small animals, of course, but they had a petting zoo at that park, a merry-go-round, that you could ride. And they also had a train. They had an actual train that rode around the whole park, and that was dope. You know what I mean? To be able to get on there, with the kids or whatever and ride them around, It was a nice sized park too, so I thought that was pretty neat, and especially, like I said, it's something, something to do. But I think that would be dope if they, they got to add something different, I'm pretty sure too they probably gonna have a skate area, for the kids that want to skate. But yeah, I don't know. Make it something that stand out a little bit more. That's all I'm asking y'all. I don't know of what. And I mean, I would say put a basketball court over there at least. I think that'd be pretty dope too. Trying to think. I don't think none of the correct me if I'm wrong. And I think maybe in the city. But I don't think none of these parks that are by the water, except for the ones I think that they just built downtown in the city or like the Mission Bay area, none of these parks by the water have like a basketball court. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, over in Berkeley, they just built it's a whole soccer field. So, hey, they do events right there by the water all the time. But I'm just saying for, for the one in Berkeley, because that's a big space. That's a big space. So that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking like y'all can add something different, like I said. So if y'all can get, put a merry-go-round over there, like I said, or y'all gonna put a skate park. I mean, that should be easy. That shouldn't be hard to put a little skate park section there. But yeah, at least a basketball court or two, and of course some barbecue grills, because it don't need another soccer field. It's a big soccer field down the street, right down at the next exit, literally. So, and that's the thing too when I think about it, because once they all those stables and everything, once they take all that property down, that's the whole length all the way to where the soccer field is at. So y'all gonna turn all of that into a park. It don't need to be no soccer field. Y'all definitely got to put some other stuff over there, But also, let's keep in mind, it is by the water. You know what I'm saying? So y'all definitely, I mean, not all areas, but, depending on how y'all break it down, gate off certain areas, and things like that too. Of course, even if especially your like play structures for kids, and, definitely got to have somewhere for the kids to play on there, but yeah, and make sure that certain areas is going to be gated off, because like I said, that's literally right at the water. And I remember going over there when when Golden Gate Fields was still open, because I want to say it is a part of it back there that people walk on and jog, like as a trail. You get what I'm saying? Behind all of that. So if that's the case, I think that they need to, they kind of already got that set up there. So y'all got to kind of, come up with something that's inclusive for everybody. You know, shit. What else is about to happen? Dave and Buster's in Jack London is supposed to be opening up in a few weeks, y'all. So for those that like Dave and Buster's, I mean Dave and Buster's cool. I've been there a few times. What can I say is games and food. Games and food. You gotta have a drink with it, but an adult Chuck E. Cheese before Chuck E. Cheese started selling liquor. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they're supposed to be opening in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Now, what I thought was interesting is Plank is still open down there, which, is a restaurant with the bowling alley, games, and all of that. I'm wondering what the scene is going to be. I see what they're trying to do, though. You know what I'm saying? They need it down there. You know what I'm saying? Jack London Square used to be the hangouts, but they used to be the go-to back in the day. You know what I'm saying? When you was in the town. So, and I mean, it was other restaurants that was down there. Some of them that done closed down, but they still got some good ones down there. I mean, shit, y'all got an event venue right around the corner. Yoshi's. The movie theater's still over there hanging on. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple food spots. We know Everett Jones is still right down there. Nations. What'd you say? Oh, yeah, Scott's, the seafood place. That's what I was trying to remember, too. But then what was the other place? Was it Kincaid's that used to be there or something? Was that where that used to be before Scott's?
Yeah, but Kincaid's is now a giant karaoke spot called the Dragon Gate.
Okay. Yeah, I ain't never been in there. But yeah, Scott's is cool. I've been to Scott's a few times. But yeah, right there on the water. So, I think it's gonna be pretty lit. I'm gonna look to see what kind of grand opening it's gonna be. I don't know though if I want to go down there at the grand opening is the best time or the wait. You know what I mean? Because I think it's gonna be lit. Everybody gonna be trying to go down there. Also, over in Emeryville, where Chevy's used to be, they're opening up a Benihana's. Now that's gonna be a movie over there. That's and y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, right on the water. Yeah, where the Chevy's was. Yeah, they took over that building. So I'm not sure when that's opening yet, but I'm waiting for that one. But yeah, Emeryville don't play, y'all. So you mess around and find out if you want to. You know what I mean? But yeah, Dave and Buster's supposed to be opening May 4th. So, like I said, I'm finna check it out. I might see about going there. But I don't know. It's a lot of other stuff going on, too. I want to say that's also, Cinco de Mayo weekend or whatever. So, yeah, if I remember right, and, it's finna be lit. I mean, it's already that time of year, y'all. It started off, to me, with the heat wave that was going on last week, quote unquote, right at the, beginning of spring, the end of winter. So we kicked it off, something serious. And it's all kind of, it's festival time. It's festival time right now. It's all types of festivals that are coming up, looks like almost every other week. It's a festival going on. It's fairs coming up. It's actually a carnival going on, like right now in Oakland by Laney College. There's a carnival that's over there. It kicked off. I think it kicked off over the weekend. Butler Amusements, and I think that they there until this weekend, and then they probably moving on. I'm not sure if they're the same ones because I know it's another. Is it Midway? Is the name of the other company, but they do smaller. They do carnivals at a bunch of different locations in the Bay. So it's this one going on right now at Laney, downtown. Then normally you see one get set up in East Oakland across from the Coliseum. Then in Hayward. But I want to say Hayward, I seen that one. This was like a week or two ago. Southland, because I was coming from San Jose, and I remember seeing it off of the freeway. So they didn't already have one out there, but then I know that they do it in Richmond, in Vallejo, everywhere, that they set it up. So it's that time, y'all. You know what I mean? It's a million events. It's Easter this weekend. I'm gonna get into that next. I got a few other topics, but we finna jump into that because it's a bunch of stuff going on this weekend too. But yeah, the weather's changing, so it's definitely gonna be some fun to be had if y'all know how to have fun. We're getting to that in a minute too. Because it is the beginning of the week of the month. Excuse me. So I got a list of stuff to events and everything else, but we got to be mindful, y'all. It's just two other things that I wanted to talk about. One of them had to do with this homeless situation, an unhoused situation that's going on out here now, and what's fair and what's not necessarily fair. Over the years, everybody that's seen it is happening all over the place, not just here in the Bay Area, but we've been dealing with it for a while, and we're one of the places where it seemed to, have really became an issue. We're one of the cities where, one of the regions throughout the country where, the whole situation with unhoused people or homeless people has become a big deal because it's a metropolitan region, so it's big cities, it's a big population, you know what I mean? So we've all seen the difference. Like when you outside, you can see it. Driving down the street, and like I said, I travel, I commute, so I go through different cities on a daily basis. And you'd be surprised. And even stopping other places in between, I've noticed that even going on trips, going on road trips and stuff, where, damn near anywhere you stop, nowadays it seems like as soon as you pull off the freeway, you're going to see somebody unhoused. You might see somebody with with a little tent set up, an encampment area. You know what I mean? Especially, and it surprises, it doesn't, but it does. It's surprising me because it seems that the big cities are the ones where it's even more of an issue. Like it's an uncontrollable issue. And if the big cities can't get it under control, and the big cities are supposed to be the ones with all the resources and funding, which we know now that they don't have, but you be wondering like, why is it like this? Like earlier, I was riding around And it tripped me out how a certain, even freeway, not just the freeway entrances and exits, but just certain streets, where at certain intersections, um, where it just seemed like, those were the areas, those are the intersections where, where people were, those are like concentrated areas, it seemed like, where, people were kind of forced to have to be right there, or they didn't have nowhere else to go, so they just had to set up right there. I'm seeing a lot of that going on the street, and then it looks ridiculous because we're talking about, okay, tents aren't small. So depending on the tent size and everything else, now, it's looking like little mini apartments along the sidewalk. And it's been looking like this for a minute. I'm just trying to give everybody a visual of what I'm saying. That, I'm seeing that. But then, too, which they've also talked about with quote-unquote illegal dumping, I'm seeing that, too, whereas intersections or certain streets where you're just seeing, like, as if people were just really coming with truckloads and truckloads of furniture and different garbage and just tossing it every day, to where, that's not making no sense. Because I know a homeless person isn't doing that necessarily. But then when you look at certain places, it looks like you can't really tell, because on one end, and I've even participated in this before, I'm not going to lie, but there was one time where I had something, I had some stuff I was trying to get rid of, and, I did. I went to a homeless encampment. Hey, do y'all need this? You know what I'm saying? At the time, because I didn't want to just throw it away, and I was trying to, see if it was somebody actually needed it. And they took the stuff. You know what I mean? It was something that they could use, obviously. So it worked out for everybody. But I was gonna say is that, yeah, like, I mean, of course they doing their own thing too. So it's, hey, if they, how you got furniture and you ain't got a house, you know what I'm saying? Some of that ain't making sense. Yeah, yeah, like, but some of it you couldn't tell, to where it's like, okay, like I said, they get it there how they get it there too. You got some people that, they'll balance a couch on a grocery cart and push it, you know what I mean? Or you don't know where people getting stuff from. I've seen, and I know, Igor, you probably seen it, but there was one spot in the East, and I want to say it was along East 12th Street, near where the Burger King and stuff was at, like right before the Dubs, or like off 14th Ave, or wherever, where that Burger King was at over there. And then it used to be the street where it would be nothing but homeless, where they had RVs. Yeah, East 12th over there by that Burger King. Yeah, you know how they cleared it all up. But at one point in time over there, somebody had built them a 2-story wooden, like a shed apartment, a little wooden tiny home, basically. 2 stories. Okay? And that you could tell where they went and got plywood or wood from wherever, and somebody, had some skills, and they built their shit. And I'm just like, now that's ridiculous. But the thing is what is going, what is going to happen? What are people supposed to do? Now, I'm mentioning that because of 2 things. One, in West Oakland, I guess, they're having pushbacks on where the tiny homes, the tiny home community that they built over there, I guess they don't want to leave, but they closed the site. You see what I'm saying? Now, why did they close the site? I'm trying to look to see here why they actually closed it. But I know that they, like I said, that they're going, hold on, I'm waiting. It's not pulling up here. But yeah, I thought that this is interesting because they sat there and how long is those, the tiny home villages? Which, trying to think when did they first open them? They ain't been open that many years. But what I'm trying to understand is why would they, on one side, if the area was already designated for that, why is it being shut down? You know what I mean? The fact that you guys spent all the extra money trying to, monitor the people and, like it was through programs and all of this. Like that was, that was an issue. But if it's people that's been living there, what are they supposed to be? What are they supposed to do? So I guess, yeah, they supposed to be closing it down. I'm sitting there trying to find out why. But I guess what's going on is that, the city ended the contract. That's what it's looking like. So I guess they ended their contract with the nonprofit, and so I guess that's gonna mean that it's 40 people that was living there. Okay, so the city of Oakland is planning to close the homeless shelter due to budget cuts and subpar results. All right. Let me see. Yeah, and this is right downtown. 3rd and Peralta. So I guess the people that are still there, they don't feel like leaving. Right. So the real question is what they gonna do if the people don't want to leave? So, and I mean, Barbara Lee be doing all this talking and she's for this and that. But also at the same time, yeah, they've been open for, let me see. It doesn't say exactly when, but they've been open. They've been open for a couple years. At least more than 2 years. Also, they supposed to be closing the parking area over here in the east. That don't make no sense to me neither. You know what I'm talking about? Behind the Coliseum? where they you know, I mean, y'all sectioned that whole area off, which it wasn't nothing but empty lots and stuff anyway for a while. Turned it into an RV park, and now they supposed to be closing that. It's supposed to be closing, I guess, this week coming up. And so that was a 30-person RV, parking area over there. So yeah, oh okay. The tiny home village was opened up in 2022. I don't remember when they first switched to RV park. But now they about to close. I don't understand. Where's those people supposed to go? Where's those people supposed to go? I'm just saying, a whole RV park. And I don't understand. I mean, because not being funny, but was that just for homeless people? That was through a program over there, or were people paying, like low rent for their RV space? Because at the point you turn it into RV space, what else is you gonna do with it? What is it that they plan on building up right there? I mean, I don't see the issue unless y'all knocking it down. I mean, like the people that own the Coliseum and different stuff, depending on, if they trying to expand on something back there. And then also, the In-N-Out Burger that was over here, another company just bought them out. An investment company just bought that property where the In-N-Out Burger used to be. So, yeah, I'm thinking that they, it was In-N-Out over there. It was Walmart, Raising Cane's, all of that stuff. But I'm wondering what's going to happen next. I mean, it is going towards the airport. And like I said, the Coliseum is right there, They do got the Oakland Roots playing, and I think the Oakland Soul, soccer teams is playing there. But it's like, yeah, what is y'all trying to build up over here to where all these people got to move? I don't see the point of it, of moving an RV park. I mean, or what they, is it costing y'all money? And like I said, what's costing y'all money about it? Because, again, an RV park, me personally, an RV park, that's a house. A mobile home, an RV, that's a house. If somebody got one of those, they self-sufficient. So it shouldn't be nothing going on over there except paying for their space. Discounted rate or whatever, but yeah. Other than that, I don't understand what the problem is. And that brings me to this other point that I'm about to make before I switch gears to get up out of here. Because this is something else that I really don't understand. Now, y'all claim that, this the homeless situation or the unhoused situation, that it is a big issue, which I do agree it is. But as far as these cities, and I said cities, plural, and the political aspect, or the people that work for the cities, if you will, you claim that you guys are trying to do your part to help. But in some cases, y'all not helping. In some cases, You know, y'all running around, there's people getting locked up. Is, you know, I mean, not locked up, but it's people getting, excuse me, what's the word that I'm looking for? People getting, not relocated, but what, you know, what's the another word when they basically, you know, because they transporting people, you know, like they forcing the, you know, not evicted necessarily, but it's another word I would say instead of relocate, you know, by, you know, making them, you know, shifting and having them, you know, shift around to different areas. People are losing, you know, they lose their stuff, whatever they do have in the process, you know. So it's constantly like a starting over thing. I remember at first when they used to try to close down the homeless encampments and different things where, you know, hey, they call themselves just bagging up people's property and claiming that they would keep it at the station for a certain time. People can come get it. You know, just all kind of stuff that, you know, didn't necessarily seem like it was helping people. Um, so then I seen this video. There's a video that went around and went viral. San Leandro Police Department, again, right down the street. But they were the subjects of this video. In the video, it was some police officers, and it shows the police officers arresting a man, putting him in a patrol car, driving him into Oakland, and then dropping him off. See, you saying damn, and that's a lot of people's other reactions, but I'm finna put my 2 cents in on this too, because I've witnessed it, and so, you know, now one of the things about the video, I guess that had people kind of, you know, outraged, was I guess the way it handled dude. You know what I'm saying? Now, the video clip that I seen, dude didn't just look extra young or nothing, you know, but he was, you know, shit, he was homeless, whatever, but, you know, he looked like, you know, he's a grown man. You know what I'm saying? He's a man. He's a, you know, now, you don't necessarily look, you look like you could be, you know, off of some different substances, you know, but you definitely look unhoused, though. You know what I mean? You look like you really be outside. And, you know, yeah, that has a whole different meaning to some people, y'all, about really being outside. It's some people that really be outside. So it's like, yeah, you know, and I got to go back to see exactly what the, you know, what prompted it or anything, whether they got a call or anything. But long story short, you know, a lot of people, that was what I was seeing happening on social media. Everybody was reacting, I guess, because, you know, yeah, saying that he, quote unquote, I guess, got a dread or got, you know, a braid or something pulled out, you know, during the stop, or, you know, during him, you know, apprehending him. But then for them to drop him off in Oakland, I guess is the other part that people was going off about, like, oh, how you just gonna take homeless from your city? And but that's where I kind of want to give not my 2 cents, but a few cents. And you know, I worked in San Leandro for a period of time. I worked in San Leandro, and you know, San Leandro is right next door to Oakland. They're neighbors. You know what I mean? You could be in Oakland, walk across the street, and be in San Leandro. You know, they literally right next to each other. And where I used to work at, you know, I've worked there day shift as well as graveyard shift. But yeah, you know, right at the border, you'll see a lot of activity. But you'll see a lot of activity, period. I mean, like I said, it's right next door. So even off the freeway or different things. And people got to think about how, like, in the beginning, even before the pandemic, and I was talking about this, I think last week, on how the stores used to be open 24 hours, or certain stores, or restaurants would be open later, or shit, you can't even go to walk into a gas station in Oakland once it gets dark. It may be one or two left. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you ain't walking in nowhere. A bunch of places out here, everything is shut down. It's drive-through action only. If they ain't got a window, it's over. So naturally, people would go to San Leandro or drive to some of these other cities, and for a lot of different reasons. Remember, I was talking about this last week. Like, for example, you want to go to Walgreens, you need to go to a pharmacy. It's only certain ones that are still open in certain areas. So people was dealing with that already. So people having to commute back and forth. People commute back and forth through those cities all the time. Like I said, they're right next to each other. It's all the same bus system. You know what I mean? There's certain bus lines that go through both cities. So of course, naturally, BART runs through there. So of course, it's gonna be people, are traveling back and forth through there all the time. It's the next city over, and San Leandro has a cool little population too. So don't get it twisted. There's homeless people in San Leandro, but I can see, and like I said, from my own experience, because this was happening even at my job that I worked at, where there were times where it was homeless people, they were stealing or, trespassing or doing different things, and the police was called. And at the time, also, I guess because of the laws regarding like retail thefts and different things like that, or the jail being overcrowded, they weren't really locking people up for doing certain stuff. So it became a continuous thing, and with certain people, what I noticed, was that the officers, first of all, like I said, they just doing their job, so technically, certain things like loitering, panhandling, and different things they're misdemeanors. They're, citations. Even stay away orders from certain stores and things like that. Unless there's severe property damage, or another charge, like somebody is assaulted or something like that. Unless that's happening, there's really no reason to arrest anybody. It's just a citation. But in the instance of dealing with an unhoused person, what I noticed, and that's the thing too. I also want to say this: some of these people is unhoused, that's outside. Yes, you could say there's some on drugs, and it don't necessarily have to be street drugs. Some of it, is people that's dealing with mental health that are actually on prescription medication, or they're supposed to be taking prescription medication, but because of their current situation, they're trying to make up for it doing the street drugs. So, but it's a lot of um, in addition with, like we said, the shortage of programs and resources and different things, there's a lot of people just, out on the street, just doing what they can. But it's some people um, that, or they doing a combination of everything I just said. But what I noticed is that I've seen it happen, with certain officers, depending on, who it was. Um, they approached the individual certain ways, Um, I've seen officers offer to give individuals a ride, as far as, hey, well, let me take you over here. And like I said, I was working in San Leandro at the time, and where I was working at was right along the border. It was literally a few blocks away from the Oakland-San Leandro border, and at that border in Oakland, right there, there was some homeless encampments, along the train tracks and a few other places. Um, so they offered to drop them off. They offered to drop them off to get them from over there. I know there was another situation where the individual, from my understanding, um, had some mental health stuff that they were dealing with, Um, but again, the police weren't able to do much. In a couple situations, they did handcuff the person and put him in the vehicle. I guess took him down to the station. But from my understanding, they would get released right afterwards. I recall actually hearing a police officer explain that to my boss one time at my job, was that we can't hold them. We can remove them from here for breaking a stay away order or for loitering, but we have to release them. You know, um, and like I said, I think at that time too, there was also um, issues with the jails being overcrowded. I think, or it's also too. I know coming after like COVID, um, there was a lot of stuff going on where it seemed like they were trying to release people from the jails, so they can avoid, because there's been a lot of stuff going on with the jail system too, as far as getting bad reviews, a lot of in custody deaths, poor health conditions and stuff. So, they already under fire and under the radar. So I guess at the time, that was the alternative, was, to not to lock these people up, to leave them on the street. And so when I heard that, I thought it was interesting. It was like, well, wow, so they got a stay away order, but you can't take them to jail. All you can do is take them to the police station and then release them. And the police station was right down the street from my job and right down the street from the border. So, I thought that was a trip, but like I said, I've actually seen that happen and stuff before too, and experienced that, where I've seen an officer actually put somebody in their car to go drop them off. Like I said, even if they had a home. That's why I said about mental health. Excuse me, I left that part out. But yeah, is that where some of them is people that just they got somewhere to stay, or they have a caregiver, but they're outside on meds, roaming the street. And so, yeah, I've seen that happen before, where an officer has, hey, you need a ride home, when they wilding out, and give them a ride home, Don't stop them from coming back, an hour, 30 minutes, an hour later, showing back up, but at least some type of deterrent, if that's the least they could do. And like I said, too, again, I've seen it happen with homeless people, unhoused people, because you got to think, too, these officers, you know, they the ones getting the calls about these individuals. So we don't know how many times they see them throughout the day or throughout the week. You know, I don't know what happened prior to them dealing with that individual on the camera. You know, that might have been their fourth time. That might have been their second time, or their fourth, or their first time talking to him that day. But I'm pretty sure they've talked to him before. You know, in some cases. In other cases, like I said, you know, hey, what are homeless people going to do or unhoused people going to do? They're going to migrate. They're going to travel. So, you know, it could have been that same situation. And like I said, whether they either knew him or he had an Oakland, or you know, when they ran his name, it had an Oakland, you know, address, or his ID had an Oakland address. Or like I said, they probably knew him and then had to, you know, drop him off before. Especially, like I was trying to say, to make it shorter, if you're in the downtown San Leandro area, because it's literally right next to Oakland. And like I said, I was working. I've witnessed it. Like I said, I even said the police say, "Hey, all we can do is give them, you know, we could take them over here, but and then we got to let them go." So, I mean, ultimately, you know, I understand where people is coming from as far as, oh, they shouldn't have been handling him like that or putting hands on him. But I'm pretty sure that there's more to that story. I know it's under investigation right now, so we're going to hear more about it, you know. But, yeah, it's probably somebody they was dealing with all the time. And it's like, hey, you know, or if you happen to know, okay, dude is, you know, or the individual is, you know, like I said, if they're using or, you know. And then on top of it, some people they out there doing outlandish stuff. They doing stuff without thinking. You know, I'm not necessarily saying it's okay, but some of you same people that are jumping up talking about, oh, what was the police doing? Y'all won't even help the homeless or the unhoused. And some of y'all be the same ones that, you know, you quick to tell the police. If somebody, you know, if you caught a person like that trespassing, you're not going to offer them nothing to eat. You're going to call the police. So, you know, or you're going to do harm to them. For, you know what I mean? For sitting here basically, you know, on your property, you know, trespassing on your property or touching something that belongs to you or anything like that, you know. So it's I don't know, it's kind of hard. I mean, like I said, I'm not condoning either the police or anybody for that matter abusing their power, but I will say that if you're dealing with, in certain situations, because you know, I've also worked security and stuff, you're dealing with certain situations, sometimes, you know, people not listening. They choosing not to listen. They choosing to be difficult, you know. And like I said, from my experience too, when you're talking about dealing with unhoused, you know, the police see them. The police have encountered them probably more often than you. You know what I mean? For one reason or another, because you're not the only person that's calling on the said individual. You know what I mean? So, how do I feel about them dropping him off like in Oakland? Like I said, hey, he probably from Oakland. They probably dropped him off before, so they knew where to take him. Like I said, this is just based off my own experiences. I don't think that they was, just picking up some random person and, we going to drop you off in Oakland. Nah, I don't think that was the case. So, you know, people shouldn't necessarily try to create that narrative to make that police station look bad. Now, in some cases, you know, I know that has happened before, though, so I'm not going to knock that either. You know, yeah, if you're an officer and that's your way of handling something, then as far as if you just grabbing a random homeless person, oh, I know what to do. I'll drop you off over here. That's not right. You know what I'm saying? And that's not allowed. I mean, they used to do that to even the gang members and stuff back in the day. They'd drop you off in the other side of town where something gonna happen to you. You know what I mean? And different things. Now that's where it get crooked and you abusing your power. You feel me? But again, like I said, if they actually done already had dialogue with this, a rapport, they done already communicated with this individual before. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. They using some discretion, and that's the thing too. We got to remember, we want them to be peace officers, or we just want them to be officers. Which one is it? Because their approach is is also going to affect it. You get what I'm saying? It's like, hey, do you want them to, be quick to pull their gun out and tase somebody or throw the cuffs? Or do you want them to, hey, well, can you just talk to them and, get them to move along? And, I can honestly say I had one of those type of bosses. He was cool like that. And he used to be an officer. That was a whole nother story itself. He was a retired police officer, And after that, was a business owner. And I worked for him for a couple years, but he wasn't really one of those. He was pretty nice. He'll offer people stuff to, hey, can you please not loiter right here? Or, hey, are you hungry? Is that what it is? You know what I'm saying? Or this is, well, if I offer you something, can I get you to, keep it moving? And some people respected it. And then you could tell when it was that time of the month or when they didn't have some good drugs and they was on one, they was being a little bit more hostile, but he never really, got out of line with nobody. But neither did the officers. Like I said, the officers, when they would come, I would see them try to, they would try to use discretion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they would try to work with the individual. They wasn't just coming over there trying to, put cuffs on them all the time. And like I explained, that's how, it got to the point of them explaining to us what they were and weren't able to do, So, again, I just think we need to take it with take it as it come. I mean, everybody need to tighten up. Yeah, they probably could have handled it a little different. They didn't have to be so rough with dude. But at the same time, he, the individual need to be, he need to tighten up too. It's a way to be unhoused. That don't mean that you just lose your, act like you don't have sense. I be tripping off of that too. Sometimes I be seeing people outside and it's like now, some some of them you could tell they get it together. You feel me? I done seen some homeless people, they, are unhoused where, hey, they keep their clothes looking right. They try to keep themselves looking right. You know what I mean? They just in an unfortunate situation where they can't afford a place. Then you got some that, hey, y'all just want to sit there and dig through garbage. There's two different things. Like you said, then you got the one, you want to get high and be out there high all day, high all night, and dig through garbage. It makes no sense. So and you ultimately decide how people interact with you. So if you don't want to be treated that way, don't act that way. Like I said, I see plenty of people, like earlier we was talking about, like how I said, the library, different things, I pass through there. I also, I teach at another center that also does food giveaways every week, to unhoused people, or to anybody basically that shows up. And you can tell the difference, even some of my students. To be honest with you, I had students that were in my digital literacy class, and you couldn't tell. There was something that you could or that you knew, but they carried it a certain way. They carried themselves a certain way. You know what I mean? So again, like I said, if you want the opportunities or if you want to be treated, you know how some people say, hey, I just want to be treated like a normal person like everybody else. Sometimes you got to hold yourself accountable and act like a normal person, if you will. And with that being said, I'm off of that, and I'm finna get into this other part of the show before I get up out of here. Why? Because it's about that time, and I got things to do, places to go, and that's the part of the show that we about to talk about right now. Things to do and places to go. Now, first and foremost, you know, like I was saying, this weekend, it is Easter. But before we even get into that, you know, what was yesterday was the first? No, yesterday was the first. Today's the second. Right. So y'all know what that means. That means it's First Fridays jumping off in a bunch of different cities. Today in San Francisco is First Thursdays jumping off downtown in the city. You know, so they going to have a couple different performances out there, you know, vendors. I know I went the other month and they had this one company, Evolved SF. You know, it's a print company. And what they do is they offer people to free screen printing. So basically, what Evolved SF does, they actually set up, and like, cause I was there, I was in a long ass line. Y'all don't understand. I waited a good hour in line, and I don't never wait in line for stuff, but I was in line, and so they had the whole setup outside, and you could actually print on the bags yourself. You see what I mean? So they had a bunch of different designs. They had a whole screen printing set up out there, 2 of them actually. And, you know, they would do it for you or show you how to do it. So, you know, shout out to them. I know that that's a free activity that they do out there. I think every first Thursday, you know. But, yeah, it's a lot of local businesses. And, you know, every city actually is doing a first Thursday or a first Friday or a first Saturday or a second Saturday or a second Friday. You know, like I said, it's that time of the year, y'all. You know what I'm saying? The sun is out. So it's never a dull moment. So, you know, it's definitely a bunch of that y'all can catch this weekend. You know, like I said, today is first Thursday. It's going to start, I think, around 5 or 6 o'clock on to 9 p.m. Downtown in the city. And also, you know, they got certain places in the city now that's the outside drinking areas. Yeah, so you know, and depending on who got a game, I know y'all see I'm wearing Giants gear because it, you know, baseball season is kicking back off. You feel me? But it's also still basketball season and stuff too. So you know, you might be able to even catch a game. You know, this weekend. But also, be safe, man. Like these first Fridays and everything, you know, we lost a loved one the last first Friday. Well, I can't even, you know what? We don't necessarily even, because that wasn't necessarily associated with First Friday. So we can't say that. You know, it was afterwards. But still, you know, that was the whole premise of everybody being outside. Typically on First Fridays, if not any other time, you know, like I said too, the downtown area is going to be packed because everybody is coming out to party, to celebrate. You know what I mean? And this being First Friday tomorrow in Oakland, along with it being Easter weekend and spring break. Let's not let's not forget. You know, some people they spring break was this week. Other people they spring break starts and is next week. You get what I'm saying? So it's people outside. Everybody is trying to have a good time. Okay? Especially at the free events, okay? Like I just told y'all about how much this gas and shit is costing. You think I can, I got to start budgeting and stuff. I don't know if I'm able to, go to certain places. So yeah, I definitely want to be able to enjoy myself at the free event, right? You know, that's what it's supposed to be for. For when the weather's nice and you don't know what to do, or you're not able to really travel. And hey, you ain't got to travel. You can have fun locally, you know. Please make that the focus. Please make that the focus. And, I mean, I'm not sure because they had already announced it last month how they were going to be making changes down there, or they had already planned on doing it with, more police presence down there. Just more enforcement as far as parking and different things. And then we had that incident happen. So I think it's going to be even more a police presence and stricter guidelines this week, with this event. We going to see. And like I said, it is the weather changing, but y'all don't mess it up before it already starts. You know what I mean? Summer is literally right around the corner. We did have some rain, but it was only for 2 days. And guess what? They said over the weekend the weather is finna get warm right back again. So, right now, we chilling. It's supposed to be like in the 80s this weekend. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be nice and warm. It's Easter weekend. All kind of stuff going on. Like I just told y'all, the carnival going on out here. It's car shows and car meets and different stuff happening in all these different cities. Go out and enjoy yourself. Go out and enjoy yourself. Leave the silly shit wherever you at with it. Don't bring it out to these public places, especially that these all age events where y'all know it's gonna be kids and stuff there. They ain't got nothing to do with that. Nobody asked to be amongst none of that. So before you even think about doing it, just think about something else. Think about something else for real. So yeah, tomorrow's First Friday, and I say that because, for example, tonight, like they said, is first Thursdays in the city. But I'm actually trying to decide, hey, do I want to slide to the carnival over there at Laney College, or do I want to even slide to the skate night tonight? You know what I mean? At the park, Like I said, do something local. Don't cost no money. It's a good time. You feel me? Just if you just wanting to go hang out for a little while and be amongst the people. You feel me? But I'm not sure what I should do because, again, of what's going on, I didn't go to First Friday last month, I don't know why. I just, I didn't go. I had planned on doing some other stuff outside of that. And so, yeah, I was headed in a different direction. But, hey, anything can happen. So that's what I'm saying. Don't have everybody looking at, whether or not it's safe to come outside, especially when the Bay Area, was just looked at as a safe place to come outside. One of the safest cities in the country is to live in is supposed to be out here. They just did a Happy City Index 2026, which is an international index where they put together the top places to go to in the world. and San Francisco was number 50, I think, I don't think it was number. It was in the top 50. That's what it was. It was in the top 50 places in the world. One of the top 50, the safest cities and the happy cities or whatever in the whole world. They were the only city in the United States to make top 50. Right. So that means all the other cities in the top 50 are from other countries. Okay? And that's on a global scale. That's what the world is saying. Right? So how is it that and right across the bridge we got all this crazy shit going on? And for what? And for what? There's no need. There's no need. We definitely got to do better, y'all. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on this weekend. So if you're looking for something to do, I got it for you. Easter egg hunts, right? Now, like I said, Sunday is Easter. You know, there's a bunch of places all over the Bay. And I'm going to just try to, rattle them off real quick. All right? Now, in San Francisco, on the 4th, which is Saturday, they're doing an Easter egg hunt downtown at Salesforce Park at 10 a.m. At Mission Bay, at Bayfront Park in Thrive City at 9 a.m. Both of these are on the 4th on Saturday, as well as Saturday in the Excelsior area at Crocker Amazon Park at 11 a.m. There's going to be Easter egg hunts. Okay, so that's Saturday in the city. And then Sunday on April 5th, at Dolores Park in the Mission, they're going to be doing a big Easter egg hunt there starting at 10 a.m. So if y'all looking for some places, and y'all can, look this information up too online, and they'll tell you too. You can just type in Easter egg hunts or try to, I'm pretty sure it's trending on social media and stuff as well. But you could definitely be able to type it into Google and get a list of some of the places. Up and down the peninsula, San Mateo County. In San Mateo on Saturday, April 4th at 9 a.m., they're having the Central Park Extravaganza, excuse me. So yeah, that's going to be at Central Park at 9 a.m., April 4th. In Belmont, on April 4th, Twin Pines Park, they're going to have an Easter egg hunt at 9:30 a.m. They have about 10,000 eggs that they're going to be putting out. In San Carlos, at, Hiller Aviation, they're doing an event there at 10 o'clock on April 4th. I guess they're doing Bunny by helicopter. So they probably doing, or Easter Bunny, I guess, or, they going to show up in the helicopter. I don't think that they're going to be throwing eggs out of a helicopter. That's kind of crazy. Whether they boiled eggs, they plastic eggs with candy in them or whatever, don't do that. But yeah, Hiller Aviation in San Carlos, they doing the Bunny by helicopter. Foster City is doing Easter egg hunt at Leo J. Ryan Park this Saturday. Starts at 10 a.m. In Coma at Sterling Park, they're doing an extravaganza Saturday at 9:30 a.m. In Daly City. Oh no, that passed already. Let me see. That passed already. Pacifica on Saturday they doing egg hunt at Frontierland Park. Starts at noon. Um, and then at Half Moon Bay, they're doing a downtown hunt on Saturday at 11 a.m. downtown if you in Half Moon Bay. The South Bay, they're having an extravaganza and parade in Campbell on Saturday. Sunnyvale, they're doing a City Line Redwood at City Line Redwood Square. I guess they're doing an Easter egg hunt Saturday at 11. San Jose at Calabasas Park at 11. Let me see. In Felton at Roaring Camp, they're doing a Roaring Camp steam train hunt April 4th and the 5th. And Gilroy Gardens is also doing Easter egg hunts this weekend, both days, with that mission. So I guess you got to pay to get in there. And then in the East Bay, in Berkeley, on Saturday they're doing the UC Exeter Festival with a bunch of different activity stations. Berkeley Marina at Cesar Chavez Park at 9:30 on Saturday. Berkeley Marina, there's going to be an Easter egg hunt. At Children's Fairyland in Oakland, they're doing Easter egg hunts both on Saturday and Sunday, both days. Piedmont Park in Oakland, Sunday at 9:30. Let's see, in Hayward, Saturday at Kennedy Park, they're doing an egg hunt and a parade. In Dublin, on Saturday, they're doing an egg hunt at Heritage Park. Starts at 9 a.m. In Alameda, they're doing an Easter celebration at Alameda Landing on Sunday, April 5th at 11 a.m. In San Leandro at Marina Park on Sunday at 10 a.m. They're doing an Easter egg hunt. And in Richmond on Sunday at Nichols Park, they're doing an Easter egg hunt at 10 a.m. I'll actually be working at an Easter event out in Concord. Let's see, in Marin, in Sausalito, they're doing a parade and an Easter egg hunt on Saturday at Dunphy Park at 10 a.m. And I think, let me see, there was one more. I think Dope Era. Yeah. So, shout out to Fab at the Dope Era Park on 45th and Linden on Sunday at 2 p.m. They're going to be doing a free Easter egg hunt for everybody. So, you know, you got a chance, get on out there. It starts at 2. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, like I said, you know, have a good time. Have a good time. I know I am. I'm trying to get to it. Like I said, the weather is nice right now, and I'm getting started today. So, you know, please act like y'all got some sense. Don't shut nothing down before it start. You know, for real, we ain't going nowhere. The price of gas, everything's gonna be local. I mean, y'all gotta think we got 420 coming up. You know, Cinco de Mayo, Juneteenth. You know, Cherry Festival, all these different festivals though. Like I said too, and other events, and a lot of car shows. I gotta literally compile a list but I know that it's like pretty long. It's gonna get pretty extensive. Um, but yeah, that's it on the events. If any of you guys got any events that y'all wanna let us know about, or that you want us to come make appearances at, please let me or Igor know. Um, if you have any events that you want us to be a part of that's coming up, we wouldn't mind hearing from you either. If you need us to promote your event, by all means, hit us up. All right. You can do that on all platforms. Um, Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Bay Life Radio 510. Make sure that you tell your people to log in to twitch.tv/Bay Life Radio. Um, and yeah, if you want to submit any kind of information in regards to an event, or you got a story you want us to share with us, that you want us to share with everybody else, or you want to give your thoughts, by all means, you can email us at gmail.com. Y'all know the handles. That's about it. I'm trying to get out and get some of this sun too. You know what I mean? I don't know what y'all about to do. If you're at work, hopefully you about to get off, and hopefully you ain't got to deal with too much traffic. I know I got to get ready to do that too. But yeah, that's the end of the show. Thanks for rocking with us, and we'll see y'all next week.